Drake is definitely a Drake because he has 4 limbs, no wings, and some say he does spit fire.
We're the bookends, people.
The in-depth book review you never asked for.
Episode 3 of this podcast. What are we doing? What's the book this week?
It's Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
There's going to be spoilers. We're going to spoil everything pretty much about this book. So if you haven't read it yet, probably want to read it first. Let's just move on to the meat and potatoes stuff. Let's get the PowerPoint slides out.
So here's my presentation: Wild and Wonderful Wyverns and Where to Find Them. So Wyverns are, I guess, in the same family as dragons, but I think this chart or this graph here kind of shows the difference. Really, the key difference between the wyvern and the dragon is you remove the front legs, the wings are actually connected, kind of like you're a pterodactyl. And there's all these other different mythological creatures where you can keep subtracting or adding different body parts. I guess the key, maybe most familiar ones would be the wyvern, the dragon, the drake, and the lung dragon, which you might see in like Chinese mythology.
I'm sorry, what is the...
So,
can we go back to the worm dragon? Whatever that was.
just the worm?
No, I've heard of that before.
The worm plus 2 wings.
The amphither.
I don't know much about amphither or whatever this is.
The whole club
It looks cool, though.
I think that would be the most terrifying to encounter. Or a lindworm. I don't know. That's also creepy to me.
The lindworm.
Yeah. The lindworm would be scary.
Yeah, I guess the key idea of the wyvern is essentially that you don't have those front 2 legs, or they're connected to the wings, and very often wyverns don't breathe fire, but dragons do breathe fire. And wyverns are often described as having either really noxious or poisonous breath, maybe, or maybe like poisonous tails or stingers. So how are dragons and wyverns described in like media? So here's a clip from Aragon, where the dragon looks like, maybe the classical dragon, 4 legs and wings. Here's a dragon from Harry Potter, but it's really a wyvern because it doesn't have those front legs. And here's an original drawing from Tolkien of Smaug from The Hobbit, and it has wings and 4 legs. But in the movie, they got rid of the front legs and combined them into the wings. So, what's really going on here? The dragons in Game of Thrones actually might be better described as wyverns, but I don't know if Mother of Dragons rolls off the tongue a little better than like Wielder of Wyverns. And, probably don't want to question that. In video games, the wyvern dragon difference is really all over the place. Here's a picture of the main dragon from Skyrim, which is all about fighting dragons, but it's really a wyvern. It doesn't have the front legs. Here's a wyvern that you hunt in The Witcher, and it's definitely a wyvern, but it's kind of hairy, a little weird looking. Here's Spyro the dragon, definitely a dragon, spits fire, front legs. Here's the Ender dragon from Minecraft, which is pretty amazing. It's a polygon game, but they're still able to give it all the legs it needs. In Pokemon, here we've got Dragonite. It has 4 legs and wings. It's definitely a dragon. And here's Charizard, same thing, but it's not a dragon type. It's a fire type. And here's Aerodactyl. It's a rock type, not a dragon, but it's definitely a wyvern. And here's Gyarados. It doesn't have any legs, any wings.
It's a worm.
You might call it a worm, but it's actually based off of Chinese mythology of a fish or a carp that jumps over a waterfall and turns into a flying dragon. If any of you have watched How to Train Your Dragon, Katie, I'm getting like lots of feedback.
I'm sorry, babe.
If you ever watch How to Train Your Dragon, dragon, you've got Hiccup's dragon, Toothless. It's definitely a dragon, and it's actually kind of similar to the dragon that's described in the book, where Manon has to do some repairs to it, gives it like silk wings. Astrid's dragon is oh god, what's his name? Well, it's not actually a dragon; it's a wyvern, and it fights using like its spike tail and like shooting spikes out. And in How to Train Your Dragon 2, the king of dragon is actually just a drake. It doesn't fly at all.
Oh.
In Dungeons and Dragons, thankfully, they've kept up the dragon, drake, and wyvern difference. Here we have the wyvern, the dragon, and the drake. All maintain the dragon has its breath attack, the wyvern maintains its poison tail, and the drake stalks around and doesn't really have much fire abilities at all. Turns out Mushu isn't really a dragon at all. It's really kind of a drake, or maybe a lungworm. If you ever watch Dragon Ball Z, the dragon in Dragon Ball Z is really closer to a worm than anything. And Drake is definitely a drake because he has 4 limbs, no wings, and some say he does spit fire.
Oh man! No.
And so here we see probably the quintessential witch. Here we have the witch, just as described in the book, with the metal claws riding on an armored wyvern. And here's a meme I threw in. I didn't really know how to connect it at all, but I thought it was kind of funny. This is how I think Aelin and Rowan are going to be once they meet up with Kael at some point later on in the book. So there's my big prediction.
Thank you.
That's it.
That was fantastic. I actually didn't know the difference between all these types of dragonoid creatures.
That's awesome.
So what's like a 3-headed dragon or drake? Is that like a hydra? What's the difference there?
It depends. If it doesn't have
Yeah.
any legs,
Like a kind of hydra type of
3
thing.
heads. If it
3-headed worm.
Maybe like a chimera.
If anyone has any of their own details, share with us. We'll post them.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe.